Okay, this is an interesting one that I guess is more in my world, but probably a bit in yours too. Bobby asks, how do you handle it when someone is really insistent about writing together, especially when you value the friendship? And sorry, someone's really insistent about writing together and you don't want to, especially when you value the friendship. I mean, saying no to things is a huge skill that everyone needs to learn, because no matter where you are in your career, if you're fortunate enough, there will be lots of things coming at you, and learning how to say no respectfully, politely, firmly, is a really, really important thing. I think it reminds me of a conversation I've had with a few people, which is, this is a phenomenon that has happened to me, and I've been on both ends of it. This idea where you're starting out with people and you're all at kind of a certain level, and then somebody has a big hit or gets on a rocket ship career-wise, and all of a sudden you're at different levels, but you've been friends for a few years, and you two used to write, for example, used to write songs together a bunch, and then this person has a big hit, and all of a sudden they're in a ton of different rooms, and they're not writing with the same group of people, one of which was you. And vice versa, when you rocket ship past people, you have a big song, and all of your friends that you've written with for the last 2 years are like, let's get in, because of course this is a business and those things are strategically important. How to have those conversations is a really, really important thing. And it's fucking hard, and everybody messes it up. And I've done not a good job many, many times. And the truth is, it happens a lot. I actually have a writer friend of mine who, when I met him, he was just starting out. Then he went on a huge rocket ship, and now we've sort of reconnected. And in those couple of years where he was off doing some other stuff, even though we had great chemistry and were good friends, I just maintained being friends with him, because when it's time for us to make things again, we'll make things again.
Yeah.
But it's also because I've been through it a bunch, and I've been in this game for, 15 years. So I understand what it's like to be on both sides of those, but it's a really important thing. And there aren't a lot of good answers. You just have to learn how to say no, have a real conversation. I mean, I think the main thing, if your friends are insistent about working and you don't want to work, you just need to have an in-person conversation and say, I don't really know how to have this conversation. I feel weird, but this is what I'm thinking. I mean, it's sort of a basic how you talk to people and how you break news to people, but like ghosting people or trying to make excuses or saying, oh, I'm really busy, let's try to link next month, is just not the move. If someone's really your friend, like, you got to sit down and have a conversation and say, this is tough, I don't know how to have this conversation, but I care about you, so let's do it.
Maybe I missed this in your response, but I want to check. Is this based on someone that, like, they don't want to write with because they don't think they're talented, or they don't, like, what's the real question here? Like, that's not really the question, because your version of the answer is something, but they might just not want to write with that person.
Yeah.
They don't think that they're good, and they don't see a chemistry creatively, but they see a chemistry socially.
I mean, I think the answer applies to all of them. Yeah. I think I'm sure you and I both have this. I'm curious for your experience on it, but I'm sure there are people that knew you when you were starting out, and now it's like, if you've got Leon Bridges and Zayn and Khalid and these people calling, you can't just like be a pal and do a solid for all of your friends all the time. I mean, this is, how you deal with those things is a really interesting challenge.
Yeah. Even down to, I have a really close, fast friend the past couple of years, my homie Alex Goose. I drink wine with Alex. I love Alex as a human, like a brother. He's a producer as well. And, we didn't work together. I didn't mix his stuff for a long time. And I said, I was very honest to him. I was like, he wanted me to mix something. And I was like, I don't know if I want to, man. I like having you as a friend. I like having a friend in music that understands what I do, understands my life, and we never work together. We can talk about what we're doing. We can talk about collaborations. We can talk about anything, and we don't have to work. And then he played me a record for an artist that was just, I understood it. I knew exactly what to do. I knew that nothing was going to come between the friendship. I wasn't going to not nail it. Because the minute you cross that, right, say you start as friends, say you've never written together, you've never produced together, you've never worked together, and then a couple of years go by, a couple of months go by, a couple of weeks go by, whatever the time frame is, and you don't nail it, there's no spark creatively, like, what's that going to do to the friendship? then you're going to start feeling like, oh, well, one person's insisting on working with the other one. The other one's like, well, we didn't really come up with any magic. I also didn't really feel like chemistry creatively. I don't know if I want to do this, but I really love you. My girlfriend really likes you. My wife really likes you. Like, I want to come into the room. I want to be friends. I want you to come to dinner parties. I want to go out to dinner. I want to be social with you, but I don't feel connected creatively with you, and that's okay. And then if you pick the right moment, like you're saying, you're kind of like, either you're reconnecting with people or you're deciding when to become creative with people at the right time, then you can hit a spark and then you develop a taste together. Like, most of Alex mixes is now in the first or pass or two, because he reacted to the thing I did to the first thing at the right time 2+ years after our friendship. We've talked about music. I know his tastes. I know his references. I know his interests. And that felt special to me. I've never done that before. I've just kind of been like, yeah, let's work. It's so LA. It's like, yeah, let's link, guys. Let's link. Let's make something. Let's work. And it's like, no. Because granted, it's a numbers game. So if early on in your career, the more you do that, the closer you'll come to finding the true collaborators that you trust and work with on the regular basis. So you can have longevity in relationships in your career. But coming into that later on with someone is trickier. So just be mindful of it.
Yeah, and somebody said in the chat they sort of had an excuse of like, I'm not in a creative headspace or something like that. I mean, look, most people give kind of bullshit answers like that, and I have definitely given answers like that, and my management have given answers like that. I was really busy. But the reality is, if I don't want to do something, I think there's a way to say it's not for me, or I don't feel like I really want to do that right now, but maybe let's check in a few months. Because by the way, things do change and things do adjust. And so I think kicking the can down the road a little bit, I think that's the phrase, right? Kicking it down the road a little bit is not the worst thing. But I think it'd be as honest as possible about it. Because also people will respect you more if you just say, it's not for me right now. I don't really feel like I want to get in and write songs, but let's check in a few months, and I like you and I want you to be my friend, and you go from there. So I don't know. The short answer to this is, it's a hard conversation and everybody has to have them. So you might as well learn how you do it and try to be as honest as possible.
Yeah. I would just add to that it's okay to not want to collaborate with your friends.
Yeah.
And it's also okay to want to collaborate. I like
separating some of those things too. I mean, look, like and you're not a songwriter as much these days, really at all, but you have that ability. But like, you and I have never actually worked on anything. We definitely will at some point, but we're also not trying to force it. When it makes sense, we'll do something and it'll be amazing, and I'm sure we'll put lots of it on these streams and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's like, we'll find the time when it's right. Our friendship was the first thing. We were nerding out about gear at your studio, and that's so much better than trying to make something happen where we have to collaborate. But also we're at not different places in our career, but we're at a, for lack of a better term, a higher place in our career than sort of like the hustle. Let's do everything with everybody. Let's try to make connections, that sort of thing. So yeah, when you're starting out, it is tough.